kiss you right here. Just stand like that little girl. I'm the candle. See if I can handle someone stay. So it was like little things just because it's you. Love is all we need. That's all we have. Just show me the way. I really love you. I love you, baby. All your love to hold. I will do all the things just because of you. Just only your love and I will be all the it's alright.
What's up, people? All right, let's see what's going on here. All right, y'all. I think we live. Are we live? Hey, y'all. Are we live? What's going on, UGC? What is hey, everybody culinary? How you doing? What you planting today?
Well, today I'm sitting in my little hammock making some waist jewelry. So it's super hot. It's almost like 90-something degrees here.
What?
It's bleeding hot, honey. So I'm slathered up in coconut oil and cocoa butter and lemongrass. And I'm taking a moment to...
you said you're slathered?
I'm slathered. I'm slathered. I'm emolliented.
Oh, my God. We have emollients. We use the emollients.
There's some cocoa butter and coconut oil. And I'm taking a moment to make some waist jewelry.
Oh, okay. So what kind of beads are you using?
I'm using glass beads.
Oh, nice.
I'm using what do you call it? The Swarovski. I have a list. Swarovski crystals and these other little mini crystals, like some really pretty colors that kind of catch the light.
Oh, okay.
And some little gold beads and stuff like that. So I'm a waist bead fanatic.
Are you a waist bead fanatic? Okay, yes. So you wear them all the time. You make them all the time?
Yeah, I make them all the time. It's been something I've been doing since I don't know, before my son was born, just in terms of like adorning myself and putting something pretty around my waist.
Yeah.
Any opportunity to adorn myself. I'm gonna admit, Salkis, I'm gonna admit today I tried to play some makeup, but I couldn't do it. I could do it. I watched you. But what I did settle on was some mascara and some eyeliner. I can't. It's like it pours off of you in this heat. I can't do it. I felt plastic. I have to find what that works for me.
Okay, you get a check mark for an attempt. Because I know that it's hard. I know you have this earthy of the earth, of the ground. So wearing makeup for you is, it's like poison. So I'm gonna give you an E for effort. I'm gonna give you an E for effort. I will.
I'm gonna go back and play, but I'm feeling my way around what feels really nice for me. So okay. I love to play up my eyes. I love to play up my eyes, and I got some raw organic premium cocoa butter on my lips.
Okay. You got the unrefined,
the organic. It ain't cheap, honey. I know folks think natural is cheap, but it ain't.
It's really not. You know. Not. We nappy-headed girls get a bad rap for being a cheap date, low low maintenance and stuff. But when you want to live organically, that is expensive. That is expensive. You know, it's not cheap.
It's very expensive. And I worked at one of the top extern at one of the top restaurants in the world. So I like quality. I like quality ingredients. You know,
Yeah.
I like beauty food.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Beauty food.
It helps. It's better than dieting.
It really, yes. It preserves you. It preserves you. We want to preserve our sexy. We want to preserve our sexy, you know.
I'll drink to that.
Yes, yeah. I'll get my water back. I have fun. Wait, let me get my water. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get my water. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I will drink to that.
UGC, are we in the house thick today or what? Now, speaking of self-care, what you think body culinary about this, the Gorilla Girl?
You know what? I haven't heard of the Gorilla Girl. I'll admit. I heard something about T.I. briefly, but I'll be honest with you. I make an effort sometimes to turn it off because I find like it's on my bandwidth, like it's a bit much. I can't focus on, like, my morning prayer has been rocking, and then I was singing some gospel music to myself, and I was jumping on my trampoline. So
you were singing gospel? Really?
No, I was singing some gospel to myself. Yolanda Adams. I was having church with myself. You know, my godmother used to tell me, sing to the goddess within yourself. So I was so busy singing to myself and switching the trajectory of what's going on because I'm very sensitive and all of this stuff makes me feel a kind of way. It makes me lose my focus on working out. So I changed the channel, but there's something. Tell me about what's going on with the Gorilla Glue.
Well, from what I understand, she bought this product. I'm thinking it's like it's an adhesive. It's a glue.
Oh, Gorilla Glue. I know what Gorilla Glue is. My sister's an artist, so she uses Gorilla Glue. That's some strong stuff.
Yeah, you use it to like it's sort of like liquid nails. Like if you want to put things together like wood and all that kind of stuff, you use the Gorilla Glue as an adhesive. Mm-hmm. Apparently, she got the bright idea to flick down her edges with it. And she made
Did you just say slick, like do her baby hair with Gorilla Glue?
Her whole head and her ponytail. She slicked down.
How old is this person? How old is this sister?
From what I read, she's 40.
What? You said what?
From what I read, she's 40 years old.
Wow.
She's 40 years old. She's 40 years old. So she ain't no baby. And I heard she's a teacher too. Wow. So she knows how to read. She knows how to read, we assume. So she put the product called, now I have used a product called Gorilla Snot, right?
I've heard of Gorilla Snot.
Gorilla Snot to do twists and all that stuff. It's a really strong styling gel that you get in the hair section of Walmart and the beauty supply stores, the actual hair section. And you buy that product called Gorilla Snot. Now they're saying that she thought that this product that she got was the same thing. I don't know how, because the product she got, you got to go to the hardware section of goddamn Walmart to get that.
And it's packaged differently. It has a gorilla on it. It has a gorilla on it. It says glue.
It says glue. You read the back, it says do not, no contact with the skin. So I'm like, wow. you go to a product section, the hardware section, in a department store, next to the nails, next to the drill bits and the saws, and you buy a product to slick down your goddamn edges.
Wow.
I don't get it.
Salkis, I'm gonna be honest with you. Stuff like that makes me want to cry. I was just talking about that the other day. I think we're driven by like there's like an anxiety. There's an anxiety.
Someone said you got it off of Amazon.
Wow.
But still, you got oh Lord. What then reading.
But was she trying to permanently slick down her edges? Like, was she thinking like, okay, I could do it once and don't have to do it? I don't know. That kind of hurts my heart a little bit. That's like, it's desperation. It makes you wonder about the anxiety. Like, I think sometimes we get a mental illness from the anxiety of trying to fit a certain kind of aesthetic.
Mental illness is real.
And that's, I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic either.
I'm not laughing about it neither. You know, we don't consider a lot of stuff we do as mental illness, but it is. It is. If we're gonna be real about it, it is. It is. So this obsession with, you know, having straight hair and needing it to be, I don't know, all baby haired up and all that kind of stuff. This is why half of us ain't got no edges now.
Well, I did have a toothbrush back in the days, you know.
I had
with the Vaseline and the water. I remember Vaseline and water. Before all this styling gel, there was Dixie pomade and Dax. And then when we graduated to Nature's Blessing, you know, we became healthy back in the day with Nature's Blessing.
Yes, girl. Yes, I was using Nature's Blessing when I had my chemo, when I was doing my Muslim thing.
And the Indian hemp hair grease, the Indian hemp.
Yes, girl. I said this Indian hemp gonna make my hair reach down to the floor. I thought the Indian hemp was it. I thought I was gonna have hair down, dragging on the floor like goddamn Samson and Delilah kind of shit. I thought so. Yeah.
Did it happen?
No. I was brushing my hair 100 strokes, 100 times a day. They said, you know, the white girls like you gotta brush your hair so you know you stimulate the scalp and the sebum and all that kind of stuff.
Mental illness. I read that too. I don't know, Mademoiselle or one of these things. Where do we get it to just be mimicking our vanilla counterparts? Where do we get that deep program? And this doesn't behave like that. Like if I had known about this as a little girl, I would have been free. I would have been free.
Well, you know, back in the days, okay, you know, we island girls now. Mm-hmm. Dreadlocks, you know, what was synonymous with locks back when I was a kid was only bums. You know, as far as in my house, the talk in my house was only homeless people
and dirty people,
dirty homeless people wore locks. Okay, that's what mommy and daddy used to say. Unkept people locked up their hair. So trash. That's what we were told. So you know, even if you wanted to back in the day, I don't know if I don't know how much support you would have gotten. I know
I had a couple of cousins that were rostered when I was a little girl, and I used to just hear about them. I couldn't see them except for one cousin, and when I finally encountered her, I was like, she's not dirty. Like I had never seen a black woman with full thick hair like that. And when she would wash her hair, she would put, remember Blue Nile, that oil Blue Nile?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, she put Blue Nile and she would shake up her locks. And I was like, wow. I was a little girl. I was like, Daddy, can I get, because I heard the grown folks talking about it. Can I get some hair like my cousin Linda? He said, if you ever put those dirty ass locks in your hair, you'll never get a penny from me. And I was like, okay. That was that.
Yes. In our house, you know, you had to be classy. You know, you had to look like you come from somewhere. You had to look like you belong somewhere, according to my mother. You can't look like a stray dog. So it wasn't something that was, you know, as fashionable and acceptable as it is now. And even with all of that, look where we at. We got Gorilla Girl.
Wow.
Gorilla Girl.
Wow. That's really sad. I'll tell you one thing though. That cousin that was rostered that I met, that's the first woman that I ever saw making her own jewelry as an entrepreneur. First person I ever heard talking about our culture. First person that ever told me to stop eating pork fried rice. And she was so clean and she was so pleasant. Like, so I wound up circling all the way back around to her, right? In terms of natural hair. She was the first person that had some kind of saying things I had never heard before. Yeah. So 3 cheers for her for being like, you know, a trailblazer.
Yeah, being an inspiration to you, you know, being and we inspire each other. Sometimes we don't know it, but I feel like we all have the ability to be an inspiration and a support system to each other. So it's like, y'all, let's get it together, man. It's a sad story. And I heard that on what's it, GoFundMe, she done raised like $16,000 on her.
The Gorilla Glue girl?
Yeah, Gorilla Girl.
What is she raising money for?
You know, someone was saying that for a doctor, for I'm really not sure what she needed money for.
Let me get sick. I could do a lot with $16,000 in the Caribbean, honey.
Well,
I could actually get a piece of land with that. Let me. But I'm not putting no gorilla glue in my hair. Let me get some of that.
listen,
That's what we doing now.
that's what we're doing. She got an agent. An agent. She was like, contact my agent. She got a blue check mark on Instagram, I think, or Twitter now. So she official celebrity now status.
An agent for jacking up your scalp with gorilla glue. That's what we doing now.
An agent. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So wow. I'm like, well, all you got to do is something ridiculous, and people will they want the show. They want the show. So from last I checked, or last I heard, she raised 16. I think she was only asking for 12, but people kept donating, and it's up to about $16,000 now. But I was hearing that a doctor had offered to help her for free, like no fee at all. I don't know what he was going to do, because the glue, they were saying just rub acetone or something, and that should lift it up. So what he was going to do, unless he was going to surgically remove her damn scalp, I don't know what a doctor was going to do.
Oh my gosh, the things we're subjecting ourselves to. Oh
yeah.
My gosh, that like hurts me in my chest. Well, maybe we could get like $20,000 for the UGC finishing schools. How about that?
We need finishing schools across the country.
School, complete with let's see, culminating rites of passage in which country? So you can go bathe in the waterfalls.
I like that.
And everybody sponsor a young woman. I've really been meditating on this hard. Everybody sponsor a young woman and a young girl, because we need some help. We lost in the sauce out here.
We are, and I was thinking about that the other day. The fact that one of the reasons I feel that we are lost is because we don't have a rites of passage where at a certain stage the girl is sat down and told all the secrets of being a woman, all the, to debunk all the lies and all the misconceptions, and given the real tea, as she goes into womanhood. There's no, for the most part, we all fall forward, kind of make our mistakes as we go. No real support system. People want to tell you shit after. Why didn't you tell me beforehand? No, it's too late.
Well, you know what, so because I'll say this: in my early 20s, I actually went looking for a woman's rites of passage on my own. I was looking for one on my own. I was looking for some. I literally was looking at just through books I was reading and books on African history, and hearing all the brothers talk about they was going to Africa to get them a woman and stuff like that. So I was going to African dance class. I was looking for a rites of passage program. So I found at Medgar Evers College, there was a professor, I think a Dr. Ya Santoa. She just had a short little workshop, and I went paid. I was working. I went paid my little money for the workshop, and then she was like, "Well, I don't have anything else. Just one workshop and a couple of booklets." But then this other sister, she has Sacred Women back in the day. So I went this was years ago. This was like almost 30 years ago. Yeah. And so I went to that workshop, and after that I volunteered. I was like, can I sweep the floor? I was looking for a rites of passage. Can I just volunteer? I just wanted to be around it. I needed to see a Black woman fit. I needed to see one that wasn't bitter. I was just looking at African dance. I was looking, and I actually found my godmother. But I was looking for a rites of passage back in the day, and I think it got co-opted. I got detoured. I got a lot of good information, but I got detoured, and I learned a lot, but it didn't save me. Wow. And so I think now our generation, I think, has the opportunity to give some more concise information that is not co-opted. I would even say, I think now there are a lot of women in my and our generation that started to go to, I think this is weird, to men for women's rites of passage.
What?
Like, let's say, for example, I had my son at home, right? I had my son at home, the whole holistic and African dance and all that cultural circle in the States. And so I think through going for health consultations, and people had their camps even back in the day, I think it got co-opted. Let's say, for example, men wanting to be in the room when the women were giving birth unless it was your partner. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff somehow got co-opted into some of these different groups, women looking and searching and even being open for relationships. I think we wound up taking certain guidance from unqualified male folks. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're so thirsty.
The men. What is that about? It's always the men. Somehow they wind up teaching.
I think just daddy issues, and I think also with the Bible, you know, some people use the rhetoric to flip it to women are not allowed to preach, women are not allowed to prophesize. I'm sure you've heard that as well. So, you know, you can see how it could get kind of co-opted in terms of us wanting to do right and be the good girl. You know, we get manipulated and being green and naive. And so it's a lot going on. I don't need to tell you on Facebook. Like sometimes I can't watch. It like hurts my eyes.
It's a lot of foolery. It's a lot of foolery going on Facebook. Let me see what the comments are saying. It's sad people are still making jokes about her downfall. You talking about the gorilla girl? Yeah, she's the butt of every joke right now. I wish I had help in my young years. Yeah. Someone asked, was it Queen Afua, Sacred Woman? Yeah, I had gotten that book, the Queen Afua book.
I mean, back in the day, you know, I have to say, I'm just grateful. I was grateful for any kind of information. Actually, I came across so much information in her space. I was open like a sponge. Seeing so much obesity, so much substance abuse, so much. I don't think I could articulate it as well back then. Depression. I could see just a pattern of depression and unhealthy coping mechanisms, and then put prayer on top of all of that. You know, praying something outside of yourself. So that was the one thing that I found. But I think also we can have a tendency to put a lot of people on a pedestal. And, you know, I think we're addicted to looking for saviors, but still you got to do the work yourself. And we get caught up in the outfits.
Yo, that's one of the things I try to hammer home is that there's no escape from the work. There really is no escape from doing the work yourself. It's just not. We're looking for a shortcut, you know, a hack, and you know all this in between stuff. But when it's the work,
the shortcut actually cost you like a good 10 years or 12 years. The shortcut will take years off your life and deter you.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Mahogany says Black girls don't receive any guidance because Black people don't want their children to do better or get farther than they did. It's a very sabotaging community. Wow. What do you think of that? Black girls don't get guidance because they don't want, the community doesn't want them doing better than they did, going farther than they did. What do you think about that? Is it, you thinking?
I think some of that is just ignorance, and then I think our mothers did some of them the best with what they didn't know. You know, it's just generations of stuff. And I think that the women that did stand out and did do something different, I know they stand out in my mind. I wasn't looking for them.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for what I take the best and leave the rest. That's my policy. I take the best, and leave. I take the best and leave the rest. You know, that's all I can do.
I hear a lot about, you know, jealousy, competition, you know, sabotage and all of that, you know, amongst our women. That seems to be the reverb and the status quo, is that we can't.
Don't you think that's all women though? I don't think that's exclusive to Afro women.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But for some reason, our face, we're the mascot for every effed up thing that happens in society. We're the face. We're the face for the sizzle and all that. Like other women don't have the same problems with getting along, tension, promiscuity, abortion, and everything else. Everything else. But we're always, Black women are always the face of all of that.
Like, I rebuke it.
Yeah,
let me get some water. Let me flush. I rebuke it. I'm not being a scapegoat no more.
Yeah.
I'm not being a scapegoat. I rebuke it. That's everybody. I rebuke it, and I don't accept it. I'm not accepting that. I'm not. It's too much. It's too much that's being put upon us. That's, you know, we got our stuff, but no, I'm sorry.
Let's see.
That's a Jedi mind trick.
Aisha says it's true. Older Black women don't look out for younger women. What do you think about that?
I think if I really think about it, you know what? I think some of the older Black women are in so much pain that it's blinding. I think the amount of pain that women are in is so blinding. So I have a desire to be more effective than I am right. You know, so if we look at like our numbers of molestation and just we're finding out more and more our boys have been tampered with just as well.
Yep.
And so it's rampant. The keeping of secrets. I think there's so many layers of stuff to unpack. I think I found like I'll have the best chance of changing my trajectory if I just seek to understand more than blame.
Yeah.
So that may be the case, but I don't know these days that I don't know if the young women are faring any better. I kind of feel like we're all in the same boat because we do have the hard-headedness, but I understand where it's all coming from, whether it's old or young. There's so much trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma on top of we're constantly triggered. So I just make an effort to understand, even if there is a so-called hating, because I don't think we unpack that word when hating. Like, say, for example, when they won't put you up on game, that could be coming from just shame and embarrassment. And shame is powerful. Shame is powerful. Shame is really, really powerful. So there's a shame, there's an anger, there's a jadedness.
Shame drives a lot of women. Shame is a powerful motivator for a lot of women. A lot of women. Our sister said, portrayal says many younger women don't listen. That's the problem.
I don't think it's black and white. I think it's a combination of things. I mean, we could look at our parenting a lot of times and not being prepared and naivete. You know, our children are set up on a certain trajectory. As much as we like to look on the bright side and say, we got it. But we're already set up like at a disadvantage without, let's say, for example, as a young mom, if you don't have certain resources in place, we're so used to being positive. How can you pay for security for that child? For a proper vetting process, for who's going to watch the child. Sometimes you have nothing but family members or a babysitter, you know. So I think I really look forward to us moving forward, really, especially UGC and it's spreading, like parenting more intentionally, being really intentional about whose sperm we want to replicate out here, whose energy we want to replicate out here, instead of winging it. Winging it ain't work. We've been winging it. So
winging it, and we got two broke wings. Ain't nobody flying nowhere.
We're winging it and hoping for the best, and that's immature. It's immature. It's immature. It's immature.
They have a lot of nerve there that smoke crack.
A lot of older women, say again?
The sister said that older women have a lot of nerve considering they're the generation that smoked crack. Like for them to be misguiding and unsupportive is what I'm referring to. And they're the ones that were untrusted.
Well, you know what? That sounds like a younger sister. She actually, on one level, I think she has a point, and she speaks to a lot of anger for, again, sometimes we don't want to acknowledge the folks that are parented unintentionally, were left to fend for themselves. So now they've come of age. You know, they've come of age and they're reaping the consequences of the unintentional parenting. So that's frustrating. You know, you can't clean it up. You're making lots of errors and ignorance.
Hold on. Lauren says most Black women, regardless of looks, are very mean.
I think we got to be careful with with the generalizations. I seek more so to understand where the behavior is coming from, because we could turn around and the same thing that other people are doing to us, we internalize it and project it on ourselves. And I don't know that that's helpful, but I hear the frustration. I hear and I understand what she's saying. Let's say, for example, as a UGC, as a so-called ugly girl, you're not treated very nicely. You know what I'm saying? I remember a little girl in my neighborhood with a little short afro. Oh my, this little girl was stunning. Stunning. She kind of looked like your daughter, a little fly, young, a little small age, just stunning. And she was called Baldy Bean. I mean, that was actually really torturous. Everybody really tormented her. So in that respect, I think that's cultural. It's not black girls. It's girls and boys. That's become a part of our culture. It's in our comedy. It's in sitcoms. You know, people pay to hear us joke about our pain. Like our pain is a friggin' joke. And being a big mama is a joke.
Yeah.
You know, every time, you know, most of the males that are, no offense, that are very successful, they portray a overweight mammy, frustrated mammy that's, you know, sassy in the mouth. You know, what other narratives, you know, are there? So
Mahogany says, let me see, Black women are hurt. It's hard to find time to heal because so much is demanded of us in society. We have to start putting ourselves, growth and healing to the forefront. Okay?
wow.
That's the narrative. We're wounded.
You know what, Salkis, I'm gonna say this. I'm so grateful for Grandma Lou. You know, I talk about Grandma Lou, my godparents, all the time. She was, most people wouldn't call her rich, but she had the most positive, pleasant human being I've ever met. With her little cornrows and her own skin, and to me, she was very wealthy. She always shared a plate of food. She was a glass half full kind of person, and I never heard her complain. She never gave me a negative deposit. So I used to wonder why is everybody so angry and Grandma Lou's not angry. So I hear the Dalai Lama and I hear Jesus. No offense, but Grandma Lou was walking around in the flesh. And so she's an icon for me. And between her and my godmother, I'm grateful because they didn't give way to a victim mentality, even though things I'm sure were perfect. You couldn't live to 100 and be dark chocolate from the Caribbean and not have stuff done to you.
That's hello.
There's no way. However she got like that, I was like, why is she like that? So it made me very fascinated as to how did she get like that, right? And I wanted to mimic her because she was just so, oh my gosh, she was so pleasant. She wasn't doing other things when she was around me.
My grandmother was the same way. We share the same story. She went through a lot of oppression. Lord, she went through it. Okay, read between the lines. Went through it and never complained. Never cried down nobody. Never said I wasn't worthy of anything. She didn't have that kind of dialogue with anybody. Most of the stuff that happened to her, we didn't know until she on her last couple of breaths. And me and my mom was in the same room. And when she let it all out, my mother was looking at me like, oh my God. And I'm looking at you like, you didn't know that?
Wow.
We're looking at each other in pure shock that this woman held, and she died at 100. And she held it the whole time. And it wasn't, she never displayed, low self-esteem, low self-worth, I ain't this and I can't accept that. None of that.
She never heard that. I never heard that.
She didn't neglect any of her children either because of it. We got a lot of excuses. We are weak emotionally. We got a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
The women in our grandma's time went through probably worse than we did. If we really want to talk the truth.
Look, Grandma Lou didn't have Susie Orman. She didn't have yoga mats. She didn't have no Dalai Lama. She didn't have all of these resources and stuff. That's why I was like, how did she get like that?
No therapist.
And so
my grandmother wasn't seeing no therapist. She opened the Bible. That was it.
Even my grandma said, I'm not running down to church to get that man my money. So she had common sense. So I noticed she had common sense. I noticed she worked like that. She had the attitude of a hummingbird and the focus of an ant.
Oh wow. I love that.
I'm literally like, remember the Mr. Clean commercial? Like when they show the curtains are like flying open. That's the image I have of my Grandma Lou's house. Her house was so clean that it was beautiful. Like as an adult going back, the house was actually very small. But I thought it was this big.
But you could have eat off the floor though. You could.
It was so pleasant, like, oh my God. And talk about prosperity con. You know how you talk about Jesus fed everybody with a loaf and some fish. Grandma Lou, she'd be make some coconut bread, right? She'd roll some pennies, even pennies she found on the ground, and she put half of them in the Christmas Club savings account. And the other half she would take to the fruit and vegetable stand when she would be in New York, right? She would work.
Yeah.
And she would go and get coconut bread and hot pepper and thyme and scallions and just cook up something nice. And we would be grating the coconut. She would let me eat the little pieces of leftover coconut. I'm like, no, grate it a little more, and I get to eat the little chunks. Yeah. And she would be making the loaves, right? We would be waiting for them to cool. So we have a cup of Ovaltine with the coconut bread, and you have the little crunchy edges of the coconut bread. And my grandma would be like, this one for Chessie, take this one for Jerome, this one for your other grandmother. She would put out all these other loaves to send for everybody.
Everything was sharing. Everything was sharing.
So I watched her. They talking about North of Jesus feeding people with loaves. She took pennies. You hear me, Salkis?
Yeah.
Pennies, and put the pennies in a roll. She had the plastic lunch tray. If she was grating coconut, I grate coconut. She's chopping up her seasoning to put in a jar, I chop seasoning. She's rolling pennies, we roll penny. That's the activity.
Yeah.
That's the activity. So she had a prosperity consciousness.
Yeah. And they did back then. Well, because my grandma was very independent minded. You know, you couldn't convince her of anything. If she believed something, she believed it. Like a friend, not a husband, not nobody could make her believe anything that she didn't believe. Like
you could sell her the okie doke. You could not sell her the okie doke.
Not at all. Like not at all. Like if it wasn't in alignment with her belief system, it didn't go in here. It just didn't go in here. You know, and it was just simple like that. But now, you know, we believe everything that we're seeing online. We believe everything that we're reading. We believe in everything that these characters online are telling us that we're not entitled to, that we're too fat for, we're too old for, we're too.
You know what? But Grandma Lou would just chuckle. If my Grandma Lou was here right now, she would just chuckle. She would just laugh. She didn't have to yell, scream. She wouldn't have no debates. It was like a quiet confidence. So when I tell you, like, her in the flesh, me having encountered this simple woman, she has set a standard for me for common sense. And before she passed, she said, she showed me she had a little bra on. She was like, you see this? And her dress, she said, I made this. She said, see this? She said, I made this. She said, and I went to give her a couple $100. And she went and pulled back a mattress and said, here, put the money here. She would stick money here, stick money there. And she said, you must have your own. Then before she transferred, she said, you must have your own.
My grandmother was like that too. She wasn't jealous, you know, because my grandmother and grandfather raised me for the first few couple of years of my life while my mother was here in America trying to get herself together. And I remember those moments where, you know, he would do his thing and she would be knitting, you know, making doilies or baking bread or whatever. never like, where is he, you know, worrying about where he was or whatever. That wasn't on her mind. Like, she wasn't desperate. She wasn't insecure.
Not thirsty. Well, you said doilies, right? Did you just say doilies? Grandma Lou would take yarn, and you remember the old hangers from the cleaners?
Yeah.
She would take 2 hangers and put them together and coat them with different color yarn so you wouldn't have creases in your pants. Like, and then every Saturday, empty the underwear drawer and fold up all the underwear. So whenever she came around, she made everything better. Like, that was, as if from little eyes, that's how I observed her, and she was consistent.
Very consistent.
She was consistent.
Did they make the you know, the coverings for the toilet paper, that the little?
Oh yes.
With the little doll on top of that with the dress.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
I remember helping her.
She still made dresses. She still made dresses. Her and my cousin, like, I have sisters that were born in the Caribbean. We have different mothers.
Yeah.
Still my sisters. They still, when I came and encountered them, because I was raised in the States, they still had patterns. I think they were McCormick patterns, and I remember them making dresses for school still. Yeah. So that was different. My southern side, that got skipped over several generations. My mother got that from her grandmother, my great grandmother on the southern side, but the Caribbean was still doing that. you know, that just had come there. So actually, I was watching these things like, wow. And grandma's biggest thing was eat your own food. That's the biggest thing I take from it. Eat your own food.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why we got a lot of health problems now. We eating out too much.
Grandma said, if I want garbage, I make me own garbage.
Yeah, yes. The simplicity of it all. Now we have all this choice. We have all of this the ability to do this, that, to do whatever we want, eat as much as we want, go wherever we want, screw whoever we want, and all that kind of stuff. And we're more miserable and insecure now than our grandparents were. With all of this choice, we think we were empowered, but we're not.
You're empowered to be a fool.
Well, that part.
You're empowered to get a disease. You just empowered to be a damn fool. My grandmother used to say, don't bring foolishness around. She said, you're welcome here, but just don't bring foolishness around me. And just start chuckling.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's it. Because they it wasn't no wishy-washy, their morality was fixed. It didn't depend on the weather. It wasn't no rainy day morality. It was every day. They lived it every single day. The women of today, of our generation and below, we change morality like we change our panties. It depends on conditions and how I feel today and all this kind of stuff. It's real inconsistent. And this is why a lot of us are confused about what we want, what we feel we deserve. We can't read other people because we're not showing up consistent in our own lives. Being able to have discernment, a lot of it has to do with your own consistency and how you're living in your own life. It really has to do with that. If you have a pattern that you can say, okay, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do, then you're not sure about anything you're seeing in anybody else. You're gonna be unsure about it.
As Southers members, and a loss. Again, I was looking. So I don't know somehow how it was in me to just look for something. You know what? I have to say, when I look back, there were patterns, even though I couldn't articulate it. I could piece together that my family was very religious. And I remember in the church, most of the women were obese, and my grandmother were more. I didn't know the word obese. It was like grandma wasn't fat, grandma was just grandma.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but I was like thinking, like, at some point, like, why is everybody so big? But at church all the time. I mean, like, church, my mother was coming out, was more important than school. Okay. Church was more important than school. So, they had Sunday school, 6 o'clock in the morning prayer. All my uncles, everybody was a deacon. My grandpa built the big old cross that's in the church. Like, they went to church all the time. But I was like, how's everybody in church? And everybody's big. Everybody's an alcoholic. Everybody's on smoking this and smoking. And then the fighting, I was like, at some point, I was like, if this is what the church is, I don't want no parts of it. Because I was like, this don't make no sense to me. I was like, why can't we go to the Grand Canyon like the Brady Bunch? We have a station wagon. I was like, I want to go to the we have a station wagon. I saw the Brady Bunch. I was like, let's go to the Grand Canyon. They're looking at me like I was crazy. Right. I was like, why can't we have a family meeting? I was like, the Brady Bunch is having a family meeting. Can't we have a family meeting about the dishes? And they was like, girl, shut up. Don't sassy me.
Well, speaking of like obesity, I did a post here on the community tabs section about asking the question, should women who are on a weight loss journey wait until they've reached their weight loss goals in order to start a relationship or start dating and that sort of thing? Should she wait until all of her weight, whatever that number is, has been satisfied to start venturing out and finding, love or companionship or whatever? What?
That's a very triggering question, Salkis, again, because that's a triggering question.
But I'd like to know from you, since you're a fitness person.
Mm-hmm. Well, also one of my cousins, another one of my cousins died not long ago from complications of obesity. Okay. And has a young daughter. So I'll say this, and I'm just speaking from experience. I would say yes. Now, the one caveat I would say is this: I do think it's important I'm not really with the fat shaming, right? I think it's very important to love yourself right now, and that shows up not in just words, like in how you treat yourself. Like, I think you should adorn your waist, and I love when I see women with stretch marks and stuff putting on waist beads and oiling yourself and really feeling your sensuality. I feel like you can love yourself to another level. At the same time, we are being sold a program of complacency, and it's a conflict of interest for profit to have us what did it to have us think that unhealthy habits are fine, to ignore them because we have Lane Bryant, and we can dress up, the lack of health. So I think the ill health is the issue, not your curvaceousness or your size. I would say, me personally, yes, I would say so. I think you're very vulnerable in that space, and I think you set a tone with a man when you marry, or you get committed to someone and you haven't handled your issues, because you might be a different person once you release a lot of weight, right? And I think also men can have a tendency to think that you're desperate, or that that you'll settle for less. I think you're definitely, just like with the makeup, you're treated differently, and depending on how you present yourself. I think you're definitely treated differently. People can lie and say, "Oh no, I love you just the way you are." I think there are different emotional things that we're not handling. I would not make a commitment before I took care, because it's representative of unhandled business, of not. This is just one woman's perspective, not necessarily the truth. Don't hate me.
We're beating you up. I just wanted to know from somebody who's in.
I think there's a lot of depression that's in there. I think there's a lot of anger wrapped in the weight. I think there's a lot of tuning out and mindlessness. I think that these are very important things on mental health that we're not dealing. And I think we have a tendency to want to make our lovers or partners or husbands, if we're not dealing with it, we're going to put that off on the person closest to us, and we can even avoid dealing with ourselves. So as long as you're on that journey, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend that you handle your business and not use a person as a distraction, because I think it could cost you years, and you'll wind up doubling back after the divorce, or after the ill treatment, and after the cheating. Not that you can't get cheated on with a six-pack, because I got a lot of fitness friends who've all been fitness competitors, so you ain't exempt because you finally got a six-pack. But I just think it won't be as devastating if you're already on a trajectory of a commitment to self-care. We can use people as a distraction, just like potato chips, and somebody to just tell us and validate us. I think the shadow work we're not doing. I think the shadow work comes. That's just my little.
I agree with everything that you're saying about the symbolism behind the excess weight, having the emotional, the extra baggage of unresolved emotions and all that kind of stuff. It is a real thing, whether you're fat or skinny. I don't think that you have to put off companionship, dating, socializing, and all that, while you're on your journey towards losing all the extra emotional baggage. I think you can do both. I really think you can do both. And the reason why I say that is because you're never complete.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think as long as we're not using them as a distraction, I think that the intention behind it, I think, is everything.
Partnership, love is a distraction. It is a pacifier. It is breastfeeding. It is a crutch. That's what emotional attachment is, and that's what we're expecting. I want you to not be able to live without me. I want you to love me that intently. So let's stop fooling ourselves here.
We've been shamed out of that. Thank you for saying that. I didn't realize that we've been shamed. There's actually, wow, that's interesting. You just made me think we've been shamed to say what we want.
Yes. I don't want to be a take it or leave it for you. I want you to lose 50 pounds and feel like life is over if I'm not in your life. I want you to be crazy about me like that. That's the kind of love I want, because that's going to keep you at home with me. and maybe not fooling around on me or something like that. I want that kind of love. I don't want to be a take it or leave it for nobody. I want you to suffer if I'm not in your life. And I'm being honest about that. And that's what most women want. So when you're putting it on hold and saying, okay, you know, I'm gonna wait till I'm 50 pounds lighter, you know, get myself together and, you know, be 100%. When are you 100%? When
Never.
that happen? Because when you lose 50 pounds, and I'm talking as a woman who lost 50 pounds too, because when at my heaviest, I was 270 pounds myself. So I'm speaking from experience. As the yo-yo and all that stuff, and when I get to this point, I'm gonna be complete, and you know I'm gonna get respect, and they're gonna love me, and they're gonna see my value, and I'm gonna get high quality and all that stuff. And you know what happens when you lose the 50? You still ain't sure. You're like,
that's true. You know, I will admit that's true because I remember a time when I used to do fitness competitions and I was ripped. And I never forget, I was working at one gym in Harlem. And I remember thinking, like, you know, a lot of times when the men would come in there, the first thing they would say is body parts, your arms, your butt. And I remember feeling like, wow, people think this is the end to all your problems if you're just fit. You know, there's another side to that too. There's another extreme. I know plenty of fitness competitors that have dysmorphia, you know, that still aren't. Sounds like, wow, you're never finished.
You're never finished. Listen, UGC.
That's a good point.
All of y'all that are on this live, you're never finished. And you're putting things on hold to become complete. And the completeness is never going to happen. There's always going to be something that needs improving, something that needs to be resolved, something that you hate about yourself. That is always going to be. So you got to love yourself at each increment, at each stopping point. As you climb and you go along and you improve yourself, you still listen. I'm the best that I am right now. Let me see what I can do. But a lot of women are saying that, you know, if there's certain size, the caliber or the quality of men that they'll attract is very poor. As opposed to being another size, you know, they'll be able to pull in higher caliber, higher quality, or maybe higher value. Or
when they say higher caliber, are they speaking of money or are they speaking of character?
Got me on that. I don't know. I guess it's money. I want to say it's money because that's what everyone's talking about. high value in a nice tax bracket where we could go on trips and put our kids through private school or whatever it is. I don't think it's character they're talking about. Honestly, I don't. Because you know, a lot of these dudes that have a lot of money, the character is real jacked up.
I don't know. That's kind of scary to me. You know what? I have to say, I hear them, and I love prosperity. You know, I love traveling. You know, I love nice things. I want it all. I definitely want character. I do not want something in the absence of character. That's actually kind of dangerous to me. That scares me with all this, the sugar daddy and the level up. Because if you're not looking at Deviant, that's how what's his face had gotten office, Orange Face. Got in office, he's like, I'm gonna make you rich. Orange Face. Yeah. So people say looking, and I would say even in our community, we have a tendency to be so enamored by gift of gab and nice bodies. When people post that how are you not thinking of this person's character? That's like a recipe for disaster and disease.
Listen, I don't hear much talk about character. When women come to me talking about the other channels that they go to get the level up information, you know, how to position themselves for you know, a high position, high value man. The word character it's not within the dialogue at all. It is about money. It is about money and status and this hypergamy thing, which is the beast that we feed. We make these men feel that it's unimportant to care about us because it's just his money that we want. So we are responsible for them assuming that they can cheat, give us diseases, have babies on us, do all kinds of stuff, because the bottom line with us It's just the money. It's just the money. So we are largely responsible for allowing them to feel that they don't have to qualify in any other way, but but the paper, and it is.
I would say also, I think that's an error. I think also of, if I might, no offense to anyone, of the younger generation. I hear their anger, but I think we have to be very careful in being so angry at the older generation that you miss what you're supposed to get. You know, the clarity that you're supposed to get. Because, you know what I'm saying? You can still learn from older women. There's certain things you do not have to experience, and waste a whole lot of time to experience. You know, I hear someone say, oh, older women, they're just jaded, they're angry. No, sometimes they might be telling you some things that you don't have a frame of reference or an eye for. Yet it could save you 15, 20 years, right? If we look at the numbers and the stats from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, if you look at the stats from the Center of Disease Control for STDs of Black women, highest ranking in the world, that we're not talking about it. So in this age of WAP and all this other freedom, and I get with pole dance and we're being expressive, I get it. But where's this, and this may sound corny, but where's this, and I'm not religious at all per se, but where's the responsibility in all of this stuff with everybody being fluid and all this other stuff from every single camp, whatever label you want to call yourself? What I don't hear is the responsibility part. That's what I like, the responsibility that comes with genital organs, exercising, and where's the vetting process? I don't hear anybody in any of the camps speak about a vetting process, and people are debating back and forth. I'm more concerned with deviancy than I am with the label somebody calls themselves. I'm more concerned because everything else will fall into place if you have character and some basic morals. I'm more concerned with that, the deviancy, than I am with the label that somebody's calling themselves. Yeah. So I think we have to be very careful with being so, let's say, angry at our parents, because then we might be blinded and it could come through like the back door, and you could find yourself repeating some of the very same patterns that you swore that you would do differently out of anger and trying to avoid.
I feel like, I wouldn't say that, that typically, younger women are angry at older women for not disclosing things or not being honest about things. I take issue with all women, no matter what age they are, because from my vantage point, and one of the reasons I started the Ugly Girls Club is because I understand that women rate what they're going to believe from you based on how you look. And that's no matter
even
what.
Even women.
No matter what age you are. Oh, I think it as facts because you're cute. What the fuck does that have to do with it? I'm giving you keys and tools so that you can jump over hurdles faster than I did. But you.
So what you're saying, if you're not cute and you're not attractive and you dropping gems, nobody will listen to you.
No, it's not. Then what I'm saying is invalid. If I'm not attractive enough to the person I'm talking to, then what I'm saying has no value. It's invalid. And this is all women, young, old, in between, or whatever. That's just women in general. And I think that is why a lot of women that can get the keys to change their lives or to make it easy, they fall short. They block the message because they're looking at the outer shell. They can't get over what they see. Women are so pissed off. Women love to, but that's the way that we assert authority, is by exclusion. We assert authority. Our aggression is in the form of exclusion. Men will beat us up, and women will exclude other women. That's how we project our aggression. So
you just said something very key. You said that's how we project our aggression.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Why is that? Why is it aggression? Because as women.
Oh my gosh! Wait, hold on, Sakis. Hold on. You just said a mouthful right there. You said that is how we project our aggression.
Yes. Yeah. It's not seen as that because you're not punching me in the face. But you're leaving me out to dry. You're leaving me alone. You're leaving me unprotected from the cipher. You know, women are protected in a herd, not
Right.
by herself. I am more protected and more educated and more I have a more of a sound mind when I'm amongst a sisterhood rather than, you know, independently by myself. That's what we were designed for. So when you exclude me and I'm out on my own, figuring things out for myself, which is what we're talking about on this
That's
live.
a setup. That's a setup. That's a setup. That's a setup. That's a setup.
It's a setup. It's like I'm waiting for you to fall. I want you to fall.
Let me ask you a question, Salkis. So if you could roll back time to 20 years old, right? And if I was to say, listen, hey, little sis, come here, let me tell you something. And I saw you with a knucklehead. Or so if I see an accident waiting to happen, if I saw the big cat, the older cat, 15, 20 years older than you, and I see him whispering in your ear, and I said, come here, sis, let me speak to you a little bit. Would you be offended?
If you saw me getting ready to make a mistake with somebody and you pulled me to the side and was like,
older man getting ready to prey upon you, and I could see that you were green or not aware of who this person was, and I said, come here, sis, let me speak to you or something, and I was having a conversation, would you be offended?
I don't think I would have been at 20 years old. No, not me. You'd scare the shit out of me. Yeah, I'd probably be scared. But I wouldn't question your motive, because I was hungry for, you know, at 20 years old, I was hungry for real friendship, for honest friendship. It was important to me to have the network around me. I didn't want to be alone. So if you cared about me enough,
even if it was coming from a older, mature woman.
I never looked at older women as like an out of touch or an enemy of any way. I never computed it like that. So, you know, the women of today are so driven, more so driven by vanity than ever before. I mean, when I was coming up, 18, 19, 20, plastic surgery was what white women did.
Correct. That's my generation. We would have never even conceived that. We would have laughed at that. We would have laughed. That would have sounded ridiculous. That sounded crazy.
Broke down liver spots, sun damage, sunburn, or whatever, you know, gimp leg. White women did the plastic surgery. Now every black girl is like, I'm getting this done and I'm getting that. It's like normalized because we're so much more obsessed with the physical form now. And I think that's what's blocking us from being able to see the genuine value in each other. Women are more superficial now about themselves, far less anything else, about themselves than ever before. A lot of women not satisfied with the way they are. And because they're not satisfied with the way they are, they're looking at you like something's wrong with you too.
And projecting that outward.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on. So when I was 20, if you'd have pulled me to the side and told me, listen, don't do that, I'm thinking, wow, you care about me. That's what I would have thought.
Every now and then I see young women, and sometimes I feel kind of like almost, I don't know if I want to say scared, or I feel apprehensive about saying anything, because, or I gauge it, like are they gonna like flip out? Because sometimes sometimes you see something and you want to say something. Like I have nieces, and it's like, woo, because I'm like, I don't see them at a certain age making certain choice. Let's say, for example, like with all this stuff with, and not just limited to them, but just young women around me, like with, I don't think that they have any idea, or that they're not thinking far enough, right? You think you're kind of invincible in your 20s. So I don't think that young women are thinking, for example, like when you get some of these surgeries, it's going to drop. It's going to drop. There can be complications. I know in the fitness world, once you touch one thing, then it's almost like something happens with your eye and you want to keep doing another thing and doing another thing and doing another thing. And I don't think we bank on the how that's going to affect us emotionally or psychologically. I don't think you don't have, that's not on your radar. in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you do something to yourself and you alter yourself, there's some things you can't take back. There's some things you may leave yourself with permanent damage, even to a certain degree, not just with stigma, but even with being so promiscuous and not being intentional with your sexuality and sensuality. You could do damage to yourself that you might not be able to take back. And that affects many women psychologically. Just the stigma of the damage that you just did to yourself and being naive or whatever, that could drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And be heartbreaking and make you depressed, and actually even maybe exaggerate the situation where you feel like you can't resolve it when actually you can. But there's no need to do that kind of damage to yourself. I actually think about this all the time. If certain things, like if I could tell a young woman something like, it's not, well, this we talk about in UGC, certain things I would say that making you think it's worth it, it's not worth it. It's a scam. It's not
all
worth it.
all a scam. It's
not worth it.
Scam.
It's not worth it. You're following people that's confused. They don't know what they're talking. They're not going to tell you the other side. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you what they're getting along with some of the money and the gifts. Then people are not going to tell you. Again, look at this, the Center for Disease Control, the numbers, and all the numbers are not reported on Black women, STDs, STIs, even with abortions. Are we thinking about our psychological health? Are we thinking about our psychological health? So if you keep taking hit after hit after hit, year after year after year, that's a lot of, at some point you get burnt out. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you get burnt out, and then you wonder why you can't get your energy and your motivation. You kind of depleted yourself before your time.
Erica says, and then the lie that women believe that men are visual, so they have to change their looks to attract them, and men are no more visual than women at all. That part. Women care about looks more so than men. Women care about looks more so than men. I keep saying this all the time, but they don't believe fat, meat, greasy. They don't believe me because they hear what men say, and it's always some critical about the physical. But how many of us were born to mothers that said, "I wish you didn't look like your father"? The own effing mother will tell you. The woman who gave birth to you, the one person that's supposed to love you unconditionally. So I wish if your forehead wasn't so big.
Wow, that's damaging. That's traumatic. I'm sorry, that's traumatic.
It is traumatic. And you know how many women go through that? Most. I'm telling you what I know. So when women talk to me about, men, they're visual and they don't look beyond the physical. I'm like, where? And women don't? When you have some women, their own mothers will say, I would love you more if you were cuter, if you were prettier. I'd give you more. I'd protect you more. And they're saying it in so many words. They're saying it through their actions. Parents judge who they're going to invest in most based on how the girl looks. Who's pretty? The prettier girl gets better gifts at Christmas.
Wow, yeah, it's too much. Saki, we have to keep a running list because I think these are actual conversations to have around parenting. Should we decide to parent, even if you don't give birth to children, you're a community mama, community auntie at some point? And how do we change the trajectory, like the collective conversation? How do we create another standard unless we actually have these discussions? Like I was just listening to some gospel today, right? I was on my trampoline and I was listening to Yolanda Adams. And she spoke one example about, somebody, time to change, Yolanda Adams. And she spoke about, somebody cheating, and she spoke about a man and a woman and a family. And she spoke about a woman that's looking at somebody else's husband. But towards the end of the song, she addressed the child. And she addressed the child, said, you think it's all in fun, you talking and teasing people, but you don't realize that you're doing damage. I was like, wow. So if we don't have these kind of conversations to make a shift in our culture, how is it ever going to happen if we don't actually have these conversations? So I would even say and a rites of passage, because I see that manifesting the UGC Charm School. Yes. I see it. I can see it. It's necessary. It's necessary that even these conversations, even if you don't parent per se, at some point you're going to have younger women underneath. We got to have these conversations. Nope, it's in nobody else's best interest to have these conversations but ours. Nobody else cares. Nobody else cares. So we got to have these conversations. So as a collective, we can check it when we see it.
Yeah. I'm of the conclusion, and it may sound pessimistic, but it's not going to be a whole bunch of people going to be saved. It's, most people are food for the gods. Most of us are useless eaters. Most of us, and each one of us, we have to decide, like, what, are we going to be useful in this life? I've said this over and over again on this channel. Are we going to be useful? Not only to ourselves, but to the people around us, or are we just going to be consumers, lurching around, just consuming things like a Hoover vacuum? We just want to possess stuff, or are we really going to be game changers, or like life changers in this thing? And I believe that most people, the most that they want to do is eat, sleep, shit, and piss and fuck. I mean, that's it. That's really it. They don't really care about anybody else. And we're in a generation that's really selfish, like really, really selfish. And the narrative, especially amongst women, is that it's just okay to take and not give anything of value in return. You don't you don't have to give anything. You can just take. You're entitled to take, and that's dangerous.
Well, that's the mindset, because then we women's are keepers of culture, so then we pass that value system on to our children. So
that's right.
Maybe we're not thinking of how it's going to come back to you. Like, I talked to some of my friends, they're like, that's why I don't have no children. I have no children. I'm like, even if you don't have children, you might want to invest in some, because then when you have all these young people walk around, they don't care about knocking you upside the head as an older person. Nobody invested in them. Nobody saw as a collective, each of us, to invest something. It's not like you have to take the whole child, but just to invest, because I look at children a lot of times like, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. I wish somebody would have told me, or just would have put me on. This could have saved me years.
Yeah.
This could have saved me so much time.
Yeah.
It could have saved me so much time. So we're gonna have to craft our own thing, our own healing, because nobody else is interested, and most people don't consider it profitable. It's our life. It's actually our responsibility.
Yeah.
It's nobody else's responsibility for us to, put us right.
It really is. It really is. And as long as my thing is the vanity thing. I think that's the thorn in our side. I think the downfall for many women, chasing the validation they feel that comes with it, or the status or the money or whatever it is they feel that comes with attractiveness, assuming that people care because they think you're beautiful. You know how many women assume that people care because they think they're beautiful?
That's a big old. That's one of the hugest scams going. That's one to grow on. That's a major. Again, if I had a running list of something to tell myself in my 20s or 30s, is that somebody could sleep with you and hate you, not like you, just because they're sleeping with you or having sex or relations with you, doesn't mean they will respect you, invest in you, protect you. So that's something that was sold a lie. That's a scam. That's a scam. Big distinction. Even for older women too, because we could be up in years.
Yes, especially older women ain't exempt. They still be in belief. Your vagina hair look like goddamn tinsel, and you still believe in shit. That's the saddest shit ever. You need Bajin on your damn vagina, and you still believe in the hustle. How you gonna be hustling your whole life, and you gotta dye your pubic hairs?
That's crazy. Please tell me nobody's doing that, Sarkis. Please don't. Nobody's done it. Sarkis.
Where you been? They bleaching their anus out here. What are you talking about?
Hold on. I've been in the garden for too long. What did you just say?
You've been planting cabbage too long. You don't know what's going on out here.
Oh my gosh. Did you just say folks are bleaching their genital hairs?
Yep. No, they the how sometimes the anus be black. You can buy bleach to even out, like you even out your face, the skin.
Are you kidding me?
You can buy bleach to even out your anus, and
Is that a product in the beauty supply store?
Already. It's a product.
Wow.
It's a product.
Just when I think this culture can't outdo itself, they got something for every insecurity. They got a product for. They're gonna pip you. They're gonna pip your behind on these insecurities. Wow.
Something is wrong with every part of you. You didn't know that?
Wow.
You could bleach your areolas too, if they too black.
Stop. I need to get some more water. What did you just say?
You can bleach your areolas.
If they're selling a product for that?
Yes, sis. Just like stuff to tighten your vagina and stuff like that. When you know you want a tight, pretty vagina, they got stuff. They got cures for everything that's wrong.
That sounds like pure insanity.
They got stuff for everything. You the only one.
They got us on the holstro bed. They got us on the holstro bed.
You're the only one that want to be natural out here. You the only one, man.
Well, you know what? I'm not gonna front Salkis. There was a woman that said to me, a dark chocolate woman that said, "You don't even want to care about that health shit." This was a black woman said. She said, "You don't even want to care about that health shit." I was like, wow. Wow.
She meant it too. She meant it too. Everyone, like I said, everyone have their value system. Women don't care about the truth. They don't care about what's right. They don't care about what's fair. They care about if they're fuckable. Hello?
Wow.
That's all women care about. You want to fuck me? Do you think I'm cute enough to be white? I don't care about justice and fairness and all of that. They pretend.
How do we get this way, Salkis?
Yeah, we do.
What happened? How do we become like this? Was it every time we had some like dignity?
I don't listen. That's just the current. That's just the climate that we're in now. It's just the time that we're in now. That's just what it is now. And the train is not stopping. So the only thing you can do is leap off the shit. The only thing you can do is leap off of it, because the train is not stopped. It's going.
Well, yeah, I think you definitely have to have a strong mind not to follow fashion, right? Just following everybody, like following somebody off a cliff because the rest of your homies are doing. I remember when I was younger, if there were folks around me, my friends, they were all like passing the joint. Not knocking anybody that smoked their little herb. I know I was like, I guess I was so turned off to certain things because I saw so much substance abuse and I saw so much laziness and I saw so many parents that were drugged out in my family not attending to their children. That the association in my mind, it actually turns me off. The smell of it, like I can associate it with like, you're not going to be present or you don't take care. You know what I'm saying? So I have a negative association with certain habits. Like, you know what I'm saying? I see somebody not really progressing, even though I see them with many talents. So my association, I have a negative association with certain substances. You know, otherwise I probably would have been numbing out like everybody else.
Yeah, well, you know, some things are saving grace. Being scornful is sometimes a protection. I don't think a lot of women are scornful enough. A lot of women ain't scared enough of what they need to be scared of. They real brave for what they need to be running from. They real brave for it, but you know,
I'm good.
Do what they do.
I've been called boring. The kind of boring I can live with that.
You've been called boring.
No, let me get the context of when I didn't want to engage in certain activities. But I said that was game. That was game. That was trying to entice me to engage in some other stuff with a risk. I'm like, nah. I'm like, good. I'll just be bye.
Right.
I'll go home and get some extra sleep.
I'll be your huckleberry.
I could be square and keep my sacred organs intact. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of chicks walk around here with mushed up insides, mushed up because they believe they're invincible.
But these are things that elders are not going to tell you. I'll never forget one time. I remember my mother. My mother first told me. My mother used to work with seniors. She said, my mother told me years ago. She said it's a lot of seniors. Some seniors is getting HIV, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is years ago.
Yeah.
Or just get it. You wait till you're an older woman to get an STD. Or women that were remarrying in the church, right? That were just getting remarried, like if their spouse had died or something, and they got remarried. So my mother was like, I didn't come this far to be somebody clean up somebody's dirty underwear and get no STD. All this. My mother's like, I'm good.
Yeah,
But just that.
I have a lot of family members who are in the health field and a lot of clients who are in the health field, and they were telling me that this was like 20 years ago. Like some of them that worked in the nursing homes, the directors and stuff like that. They were like, you know how sad it is to live till you're 85 and then get gonorrhea. I'm like, yo, how you get you disease free until you're 85 years old, and now you got syphilis at 85.
Desperation will get you got.
I'm good.
But see, when we talk about women, I don't think women are having these conversations with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when are women gonna say, like, yo, are you protecting yourself? Are you protecting yourself? Are you talking about protecting yourself first, physically, but then also mentally, emotionally? Are you thinking about these things? Like, why are we not having these conversations?
For the donation, thanks. I don't know. I don't know. No, I do know, because, like I said, nobody wants the truth. Everybody just wants to feel good. You don't want the truth. That's why my channel ain't as it is. That's why a certain person can make $1,000 for a 2-hour live saying nothing substantial, and I might get $2 or something like that. Nobody don't want the truth. They don't want the truth. They want to be entertained. You want to feel.
That's true. Well, that also goes back to what you said in terms of, if you're not attractive, then you're not paying any mind.
That's it. So you want to know why people, women are not getting the information that they want? Because they don't want it from you. They don't want it. If you look a certain way, you're not encouraging, you're not inspirational. If I don't want to look like you. I don't believe nothing you say if I don't want to look like you. That short-sightedness and that small-mindedness, and I'm like, I got something here that you are virtually going to go.
Speaking of which, Miss Salkis, did you re-release some of your old videos on the channel? Open some of them back up? Some of your old videos? Or they were always, because I loved your older videos, but you had that tapestry in the back. Oh my gosh, I love those videos. I still go back, and it's like certain books, you can read them over and over. Yeah. Some of that, I love those older videos. Those are like some of my favorite videos, are the older videos on this channel. I sent those to my nieces. I was like, oh, here she goes sending videos again. I sent it to my mom. I was to share with your home attendant. I said, listen, y'all need these videos.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
But perhaps they didn't want to see it because, look. So
that's.
I was like, this is critical information.
Yeah, but it's only critical if the packaging is right. It's only critical if the packaging is right. Listen, I'm the UGC ambassador. I know what I'm talking about. I know.
And hold on, I'm a proud one, honey.
Yes. I know.
This is my talisman. This is a talisman. This is like a little vaccination. They're giving out COVID vaccine. This is my vaccination to keep me present. So I was like, what does that say? Why are you calling yourself that?
Yeah. Like they really care. That's that pretense. You shouldn't do this self-deprecation. Girl, bye. Self-deprecation. You talk about me behind my back too? Girl, stop. But that's what people do. That's what they do. So listen, we come to the end of this live. We done chopped it up for over an hour. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. I appreciate you for coming on and Vibe and Body Culinary. Y'all go to her channel. What's it? The name of your channel is Body Culinary.
It's Body Culinary.
Okay, yes. So the sister has her channel full of health and inspirational stuff, organic stuff. Y'all go there, subscribe to her channel and show her some love and support, because she's full of wisdom and knowledge, and her energy is really beautiful. Beautiful energy. So
but thanks, Saka, that's what I say. I so appreciate you. I was like, this is the sorority I always wanted. It's not catty, and I'm getting something useful. I'm getting something back, honey.
Yeah.
It's time for me to get back for what I'll be putting out.
Yeah.
So like I'm very big on like circle of influence, the 5 people you're spending the most time with. So I need to make sure I'm getting some good deposits. I'm being very particular. I always have them, but I'm just upping the ante on who I'm having exchanges with, and it's got to leave me with something, you know, gossip stuff that's not doing enough for me. I need something back.
Yeah, it does influence you. So you got to be careful who you're listening to, who your friends are, you know.
Yeah.
But
if you ain't got none, honey, get some. I'm very intentional. If I got to put a video on so they don't complain and it's exercising and it's okay with the green juices and stuff, I will create my circle of influence.
Yeah.
You know, I have to. I need to. I need to create support for myself. So I'm unapologetic. Thank you, UGC.
Yay!
Honey, best gift, honey. Gift your nieces and the women in your life with UGC, honey. UGC Charm School.
Yes.
It ain't the charm like they think about, like the charm.
No, it ain't that. It's something deeper than that. Something that we need to change our DNA. we need a DNA splice going on. That's what it is. So anybody who wants to be a part of our weekly private group coaching sessions, go to theuglygirlsclub.com. That is our website, our clubhouse. You can sign up on the homepage. So there, this is a real thing. Focus on healing. We're not into gimmicks. That's not what we do. We're hurting and feeling a lot of pain. So we're trying to wash a lot of that stuff away. Because we're hurting unnecessarily. We don't have to feel bad about ourselves. It's a choice. So learn why it's a choice and how you can overcome these things and free yourself. TheUglyGirlsClub.com. If y'all want to leave a donation, the Cash App is in the description. Cash App, PayPal, or whatever. Support, subscribe for those of you who are here for the first time and like what you heard and everything. And yeah, that's it. Anything you want to say in closing, Body, before we roll?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just so appreciative. I'm so appreciative and grateful. This is an excellent energy for 2021, at least by this Greco-Roman calendar. But it's an excellent vibe. Like, I'm just feeling this cocoon thing. Cocoon. Yeah. I think Afro women need to go ghost. Ghost. But we have to all the chocolate women. No, we somewhere in the garden. We're in there getting our head right. We're getting fit. I said, go ghost.
Yes.
Bye. Let them be looking for you. Like, what happened to all of them? We in a cocoon somewhere.
Yeah. Let them get scared a little bit. Oh my God.
What happened to them? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So I appreciate everybody for coming on and rocking and rolling with us for this hour and a half. And if you have any questions, want to email me, info@theuglygirlsclub.com, or you can message me from the site itself. I usually answer within a few minutes. If you have a question about anything, want products, I have ebooks, audio trainings, group coaching sessions. So we have something for every point of entry. Anything you're ready to get into. And we'll see y'all soon. UGC. Love.
See, sending you love from the garden out here in this heat.
Yes. I might need one of them waist tees too now. I might need.
I got you.
All right, y'all.
All right, see you soon.
Bye.